our first player, Dr. J, self-prescribed the greatest caster and Hearthstone player. He's got a pretty aggressive lineup with Odd Paladin, the Weapon Rogue, Even Shaman, and his actual mage is being banned out there, which is pretty surprising actually. And there he is himself, the man himself, the greatest Hearthstone caster / player.
The Dr. Tinky Winky, or Dr. J. He looks a little bit, he's in battle mode right now.
Look how serious he is. Next, it's Jarla. And probably he's got down on his bio, what do you do outside of Hearthstone? I play more Hearthstone. I mean, that's got to be the #1 Hearthstone fan right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a similar lineup, very aggressive. We've got the Tempo Mage, Even Shaman again, the Inner Fire Priest actually this time. So I still classify that more as like an aggressive type of deck. Just because it's trying to do the same thing where it's just trying to stay on board and then just kill your opponent once it's established dominance, basically. Who do you favor in this matchup?
Let's see here. I kind of favor Dr. Drjikininki here. I really think that more people should have brought Rogue. From my experience in Wild, Rogue is looking like I kind of think it's probably the #1 class. I don't think that many people brought it. I think 3 out of the 8 competitors here brought Rogue. But I just think the Rogue does some crazy things in Wild, with even multiple deck lists being strong. They have access to a lot of cool patches stuff, which is very dominant. They have access to Kingsbane and Odd Rogue, so both variants of all the aggro rogues are incredibly powerful. So I want to see him just blow things up with Rogue.
I couldn't agree more. Like, I think that Kingsbane Rogue is kind of still like new and untested. Like, not many people have experience of it, and super excited that Dr. J's brought it. Actually, like you say, you can do some crazy stuff with just like prep into Myras. I've seen people prep Myras on turn 5, and then just go on to win the game next turn. It's like with insane like combo draws and kind of like weapon upgrades, because in Wild you got access to oil as well.
Yeah, looks like we're having Rogue for game 1. One thing I like about Rogue, especially in this kind of matchup, is that since every deck here is basically aggro, Dr. J, Jarla bringing basically 8 aggro decks, the Rogue hero power is incredibly good in aggro mirrors where it offers a lot of board control.
Yeah.
Doesn't get a great mulligan here. He needs some pirates to go with his ship's cannon, but if he finds something, he can definitely make this hand work.
Yeah, do you know what? I didn't expect anyone to bring Thunderhead in Even Shaman. I was a bit shocked by that, actually. I mean, it is actually great against Odd Paladin because it does provide, every like overload, it does provide an extra like 2/1/1s of charge. So I kind of like that, because you got to find replacements for Flame Tongue Totem, and that's not actually a bad like tech card, I'd say, against other aggro decks.
Right, especially against other tempo decks, exactly. Question is, how many overload cards he has. Looks like he already has 3 overload cards. I just wonder if people have enough in Even Shaman to make that card work overall.
Yeah, typically you've got the Totem Golem, weapons, Crackle, and the Faceless Flame Wraith. I think that's the kind of typical amount of overload cards. But you are right, there's not many like full overload cards in kind of Even Shaman.
Yeah, keep in mind this is also a stronger format, so there's a lot of competitors with Thunderhead, with Flame Wraith Faceless being a competitor, Piloted Shredder being another old school one.
Yeah,
and
I love seeing all the old like GVG cards.
Yeah, Totem Carver is pretty nice too. So it's a nice pickup by Dr. J here with the Buccaneer. He's gonna really be happy to see that with going. It's gonna enable his patches hero power play next turn.
Yeah. And that Crackle, it looks painful because obviously Crackle, you just want to use that as a finisher. But yeah, you gotta respect the cannon. You can never leave that up in a kind of like pirate orientated aggro deck.
Yeah, I like Jarla's decision here to coin the hero power. He realizes he has Thing from Below in his hand, so basically that hero power is kind of mana neutral. It doesn't really cost him anything for wasting his coin there, because he effectively gets a -1 mana discount on his Thing from Below.
Yeah, and it's just great to have like a potential like taunt or even kind of a 1/1. The 1/1 totem in this matchup's not too bad either, so it does force some trades. So you're all right. It's like you don't really mind in Even Shaman. It's one of those kind of Baku and Gen decks where you know it's so valuable to press that hero power for all the like different synergies that you have there. And we also see a pickup of Maelstrom Portal here. Would you use that now, or would you hold on for a little bit longer?
I'm very into potentially using here. My reasoning is you don't really want to overload this turn, so your other play would be Jade Claws. And if you overload this turn, I guess there are other alternatives if I think about it more, because if you overload here, you can, instead of playing a 4-drop next turn, you can just Hero Power and Maelstrom next turn.
Yeah.
Or something like Hero Power and Jade Claws again. So this makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's also potentially, if you do Maelstrom Portal there, you could just drop Thunderhead on the next turn. But then again, what are you really gaining advantage of? Like, what are you going to be trading into with the sparks? So I do kind of like the actual weapon equipped there, because it does give you potential for more tempo.
Whoa, look at this. He
oh my god.
actually decides to mire here. Is he going to get his Kingsbane?
Oh no.
Doctor, no. No Kingsbane. Oh wow. I was about to make some comments about how this could go into a very long grindy game, because Dr. J has a very, reactive hand here. He had the Maras, a lot of reactive cards. He might be going for like a late game Kingsbane strat. Dr. J just blows the game all open here by prepping the Maras immediately and not getting the Kingsbane in his hand. So now this game is totally different. Dr. J is completely all in here. He's going to start taking fatigue damage every turn. Does he have enough damage? Let's see. What does he have? What kind of tools does he have? He has an incredibly bad draw here with his Maras, right? He basically has a bunch of things like Cavern Shiny Finders, which don't find anything. And
the saps aren't great either. Like, typically, you're not really sapping much in Even Shaman, because most of the stuff you are sapping are reduced, like Sea Giant and like Totem, sorry, not Totem Golem, sorry, the Thing from Below. Typically, you don't want to sap any of those, because you can typically just play them again for the same amount of mana cost. So, for him to get 2 saps against another, against this like Even Shaman is terrible. Like you say, the 2 Cavern Finders, I don't think he's not going to have enough damage, is he? I think you play it out just to see what you can do, but I mean, you can upgrade that weapon to a 6-2. But then where'd you go from that?
I like Jarla's decision to not Galactic Crawler the pirate. He realized that there's bigger pirates in Dr. J's deck, and it's very likely to have some because he just drew 10 cards.
Yeah.
So here you have the world's fattest Galactic Crawler.
Oh, I think that is the biggest. 5/4 is typically the biggest pirate stat that you get in this deck, because sometimes you run. I forget the name of the 5/4 that buffs it by 1 attack.
Oh yeah, Naga Corsair.
Corsair, yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Right. This game could have gone very differently if Dr. J found a 4-drop, because he had nothing to do in turn 4, and he decided to bite the bullet and go for the prep it. But if he had just had some other minion or play, he probably would have gone for that. He just as the tempo deck didn't really have that many choices without a valid alternative. So
yeah, I think Jarla was still in a good position with his hand, and I think Dr. J probably recognized that, and he felt like he had to go for it, because if you do draw Kingsbane, a couple of weapon upgrades, and the likes of like Doomerang, you can do a serious amount of damage getting through taunts and just basically pushing damage per turn. We got really unlucky there. Like, that was probably one of the worst draws I've ever seen off Unstable.
Yeah, he would have had so much control too. Like, that kind of draw allows you to go face while controlling the board. With Doomerang and stuff. So
yeah, that's the one of like the huge benefits of that type of deck. Like, that aggro deck for Kingsbane is so flexible, because you can make so many like different lines of plays. Like you said, you could have gone late game there and just tried to trade up as much as possible and use saps, but yeah, chose to go for the all-in. Unfortunately, just didn't find that Kingsbane there. And I'm liking a few of these matchups here for Jarla. I do like Mage versus Rogue, because you do have the potential of freezing out the face with the likes of Frostbolt and Ice Lance and stuff like that. So I do fancy Jarla's chances of taking out that Rogue again. And speak of the devil, it's...
We're really good at predicting. Yeah. Keep in mind that this is wild, so one of the cards that has been, out of standard for a while is Ice Block. So you have these... So Jarl has 1 copy of Ice Block in his Mage, and that basically allows him to play more of a style where you can give up the board at some point,
Yeah.
and you can just start going all face. You have one extra turn of finding more burn damage and getting more mana, another turn's worth of mana.
Definitely, yeah. You can just rely. I always find with the Tempo Mage, you just do as much chip damage as you can with the minions, and then you just fully rely on your burn kind of mid-game onwards. And if you draw a Alanuf, then your win rate must just like shoot up with this type of deck. But yeah, I do like. Do you like keeping Frostbolt against Rogue?
I usually do not like keeping Frostbolt against Rogue in Standard that much, but I think because of Ship's Cannon, it might be something to really consider.
Yeah, because it's difficult to kill that with minion combat in this type of deck. So you don't really want Ship's Cannon to get out of control, because if the Rogue does get too out of control, that ice block play that you mentioned before is just not gonna come to fruition.
Yeah, one of the best cards from Rogue in this matchup is actually Deadly Poison. It's because Mage has so many spells. They're usually split down the middle between minions and spells, but they can oftentimes have awkward hands with too many spells, not enough minions, and just removing the minions completely with the early Deadly Poison allows you to deal with their early snowball, and then they're left with all burn, which can oftentimes be a weird hand. Ooh, finding a Kingsbane for his Deadly Poison. So.
Yeah, I actually like finding the Kingsbane naturally rather than drawing it initially, because it gives you more potential for kind of like binning the weapon and then redrawing it, so you can always go face with the weapon, even if you haven't got much of an upgrade on it. So that's a pretty big draw there.
Do you think he's gonna? Oh, I think he's gonna save the Dread Corsair for next turn for the cannon. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because then you pull patches, you hit two of them. I kind of like going face here and just leaving the Mad Scientist up and just letting the cannon basically tick that off the board. Because he's
right. That's a cool line. I like it.
Yeah, because he's got Raiding Party. Yeah, I just like him going face every turn with that weapon now.
Yeah, I think next turn he'll probably take out the Archaeologist, but he doesn't want to waste the ping on the Archaeologist.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's true. Like you trade one into the Archaeologist and then go for the cannon line of play. But a huge draw there for Ice Block actually. Like that Ice Block's gonna potentially buy Jarla one turn when it does get to that lethal range.
It's more like, yeah, also it's very scary now for Dr. J to go for his original line of Ship's Cannon plus Dread Corsair, because if you look at the secrets in Jarla's deck, there's 2 counterspells, 2 runes, and 1 ice block. So this secret has a 40% chance of being an explosive runes, maybe even higher, because if there were multiple secrets in Jarla's hand, he would have chosen to play explosive runes.
Yeah.
Not a lot of alternates, but something to keep in mind why Dr. Drjikininki didn't kill Mad Scientist last turn was he had a chance to just pull the runes.
Definitely, and that would potentially then just kill off the cannon straight away, and he wouldn't be in this position here. And I'm wondering what that secret is there now. Counterspell actually does hit. No, he's got coin actually. I was going to say it would hit Rogue because of coin, but it still combos off and he can play Raiding Party. So I suppose Counterspell is probably the worst pull he could have got from the actual secrets in his deck.
Yeah, it's a perfect time to use Raiding Party next turn, right after you use your three charge of Kingsbane. This game is looking great for Dr. J here, doing Rogue things exactly what he wants. Probably see a glyph and valet here. I could see a ping on the patches instead of glyph activation. Looks like.
Yeah, I think I like the glyph because these deck lists typically don't run Cold Blood. So you wouldn't put Cold Blood on the patches anyway. I don't think because of the hero power. But actually going for the ping. Both lines of play fine there. You are taking like the continual 1 damage off board now, and you can always glyph into something else next turn with the Mass Contender.
Right. Yeah. Something I want to bring up is something like this kind of mage can run out of steam fairly fast. If you don't get enough early damage, you oftentimes don't have enough, draw to finish up the game fast enough. Whereas this kind of rogue deck is more based on more minions and Kingsbane, stuff that scales well into the late game. So if they just keep grinding it out like this, eventually Dr. J will be in a better position than Jarla here, I think.
Jarla's deck going into kind of like mid game is pretty much reliant for the burn part. Is reliant on our Alanif draw to actually get that late game plan. Like you say, if he doesn't do the minion damage early on, to actually burn your opponent out from 24 HP with just natural draws is so difficult. So yeah, I do fancy Dr. J's chances in this position, and next turn he's got the raiding party into Kingsbane draw, and potentially like hopefully I think he'd want a top deck unstable element at this point, wouldn't you? I think if he had that in hand, you would probably prep raiding party into unstable.
Yeah, you probably need to get your Kingsbane first, and then you're gonna just go for it here. Yeah, Jarla's trying ASAP to get control of board. He realizes that 24 is too high to burn out at this point, and even if he has a bunch of fireballs, Dr. J will probably kill him before Jarla wins. So still going for trying to find some way to desperately win the board. I think one of the best ways will have to be to rely on this primordial glyph here. See if he can get a high roll like a meteor or something.
Yeah, it's really difficult with the position he's in now, because the rogue deck actually does two things really well. It gets like board presence pretty well because of the weapon trades efficiently, and you've got stuff like Doomerang, and it also has superior drawing, I think, as well, because it's just got so many drawing capabilities in the deck that you've always got a decent answer for board or face damage, whereas the mage heavily relies on that early minion pressure just to tick some over and then transitions into burn after.
Right.
So yeah, playing around the explosive rune, I like that. I mean, I don't think 19 HP with 3 cards in hand is too big of a hit really for Dr. J.
Yeah, it's fine for him to use his life a little bit as a resource here, keeping his bigger minion alive. Looks like some okay finds fireball, but the problem here is you can keep fireballing minions. This Kingsbane's just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
You don't have that many turns left. Jarla's left here with not too many options.
I suppose unexpected results potentially could give him a little bit of presence. I don't think you'd ever want to take the shift and scroll. So I think he'd be considering between fireball and with the fireball, it's got to go on a minion, right? I don't think he's not going to get enough draw to actually burn Dr. J out.
Yeah, I think Jarla actually has to go for one of the RNG options, because without some big swing, I don't see him winning here with the fireball line. Like maybe you just had to go for like a super high roll. Is it possible that he gets 2 Annoyatrons here from? Yeah.
Because we've already seen it today actually with like a random taunt coming out from a devolve. So I mean, I guess with the amount of like pressure he's under now, fireball in the Captain Greenskin it's probably needed, because he will get popped next turn, and so he's on a 2-turn clock here.
Yeah.
I think in that position there, he would have had to have drawn Alanif to have a chance.
Right. It's like this game is winding down.
Yeah, so we can drop him to 4 HP if he wanted to here, in with the sheep, and then attack.
I think you go for the trade. You don't need to go for 4
that's true,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
can that's true, because your weapon's always going to be Exactly.
What can Jarla get here?
Glyph.
Another glyph.
Glyph, yeah. I think that was the same line of play last set. Was someone looking for glyph?
You probably need something even better than another ice block. Maybe an ice barrier to buy yourself more time.
Yeah, that's it. So that ties up the series 1-1. Dr. J takes the second one with his rogue, and yeah, I kind of fancy that one. Like, Tempo Mage is heavily reliant on its early to mid game going into like transition. So with the rogue, like you say, it's so flexible and so reliable. It has so many different kind of play styles that yeah, I did fancy rogue in that matchup there, just because of the draw consistency.
Right, Tempo Mage usually struggles with decks that can deal with their minions early, and Rogue is definitely one of them, so that's kind of a I don't know though. I mean, Rogue's also kind of weak to burn, so they both kind of have each other's number.
Right, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. We're currently 1-1 in the series with Dr. J and Jarla. We've had pretty intense 2 aggro matches, I would say. So currently Dr. J's won with his Kingsbane Rogue, and Jarla's won with his Even Shaman. So we've got two similar matches. We might have Even Shaman versus Inner Fire Priest, or what would you say? What if you were in Dr. J or Jarla's position? What would you pick there?
I'm a fan of the random 1 to 2 here. That's my strat in Conquest. Mathematically, actually, it makes no difference at all. So I'm a purely logic-based person. I just go for the random.
See, I'm superstitious. I would go for like my weakest deck. Play that one, get out. Unless I was tilted, I'd just play my weakest deck first, because then I've got psychologically going in like thinking, yeah, I'm going to take this down after that. We do see the Inner Fire Dragon Priest versus Dr. J's Even Shaman. So this is a bit of a strange one. You don't really see this matchup too often, because this in Wild you've obviously got access to the like powerful Dragon Priest set with Operative and Guardian. So it's a bit of a hard one to call. Like Devolve is huge in this match for Even Shaman. Basically, you have to keep everything off board for this priest. Otherwise, there is potential there for them just to take over and smash you in the face for like 28 upwards of damage, basically. So I do like Devolve being kept in the mulligan there for Dr. J. Yeah, it's super good against this. Like if you get like one buff on a target, you just want to get that Devolve down.
This is a nightmare matchup for Priest, actually. It's because, so as Priest, you generally end up with some dead cards, Inner Fire, Divine Spirit, things like that. And when you're just grinding out the board, eventually, if you keep trading, all of your minions, like your whole hand will eventually just be dead cards. Whereas Shaman, all their cards are more flexible. If you try to combo off early, because there's so much board control as a fighting going on, like you don't really have, the opportunity to combo off early. And even if you somehow do some kind of like a half combo where you don't kill them, you just kind of make a big dude. There's always the threat of devolve. So this kind of matchup is, it's kind of make or break on Dustbreaker. But the thing about Wild here is there's so many minions outside of range very fast of the Dustbreaker, so I feel like Jarla needs to win extremely fast, and Jarla's hand here is looking very iffy. He had to play this Talon Priest on no minion, so it's a pretty powerful 3-4, but it's not going to do the job here against this Jade Lightning, so he needs to get something going. Yeah,
he's got a lot of dragon activated, but no dragon at the moment as well. So like you're saying about dead cards, yeah, you're absolutely right though. Against a deck that basically dominates board as fast as even Shaman does, you've got to get something done quickly. I mean, this isn't a matchup that we typically see on Wild Ladder too often. We typically see quite a lot of even Shaman, but Inner Fire Priest kind of died out a little bit in like the wild format, because I don't think it doesn't do very well against the likes of like Odd Rogue either. It's kind of like it needs that kind of specific matchup where it's dealing with like maybe a slower paced kind of match, I'd say.
Yeah, it's always been one of those board controlled decks that blow out those controlled decks sometimes, when they're not fighting you for board as much, then you can really leverage your Inner Fire and Divine Spirits. Dr. J made a really weird decision not to kill this minion last turn, Jade Lightning. Maybe he's scared of a Dustbreaker, clearing his board. But the problem is, Priest now has a minion to leverage their hero power, to leverage their powered shields, whereas if he took out the only minion, it changes a lot of Jarla's potential plays there, so...
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's potential for Jarla to have, like, a dead hand in that case. If there's no minion to, like you say, leverage, there's a lot of the buff cards there that are just inaccessible for Jarla to use. And Lyra is a bit of a surprise for me. Seeing Lyra in this deck list in the Wild format, again, it's not really... I think there's more powerful tools in Wild format for this type of deck that I'm surprised in actually seeing Lyra. Do you think that's a normal inclusion for this type of deck, or do you think it's a bit thinking outside the box?
I think it's fairly normal. I believe his priest should have Radiance. Yeah, it has 2 Radiance, so you have the full, Lyra Radiant package. I guess it's kind of a way to turn your excess, spells, since he has so many cheap spells, into some kind of value. Lyra's actually looking extremely, maybe pretty good here. I wouldn't be super surprised to see a Lyra coin something here.
Yeah. I mean, you could, it's what you use. I guess Inner Fire on it.
Oh, just
a Lyra. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not exactly easy to deal with based on Dr. J's hand. One of the things that hurt this matchup a ton is actually Flame Tongue Totem. Like, the loss of Flame Tongue Totem in this particular matchup, Flame Tongue Totem shines when you can effectively trade up your small minions into bigger minions, and then, go face the excess ones. And this is the exact type of matchup where, you're playing against bigger dragons, things with very high health. Yeah, because Priest wants to run those high health minions for Divine Spirit.
It does slow Dr. J's deck down quite a bit, actually, because typically you wouldn't want to use Crackle on this. You just play Flame Tongue and potentially Maelstrom Portal and trade in a couple of the totems. I mean, it's a pretty wide board, but it's not much of a board currently. It's just a lot of totems.
Oh, there's the first dragon of the game. It's gonna enable a ton of things from Jarla's hand, including
Duskbreaker, yeah. I do like the second pick of a Duskbreaker. I mean, those other dragons were pretty terrible to pick. He could have took Temporis, but he would have lost, I think, there if he took that.
It's very easy to kill your opponent 2 turns, generally. Yeah, should be good. Should be a good Duskbreaker here.
I'm just looking at the hand too. I think just getting rid of those minions obviously helps towards Sea Giant as well. If he clears everything off here, his Sea Giant will become unplayable. But you know, I guess Dr. J is just going to drop, I suppose, Iron next turn. That possibly looks like the best play, or a Fire Elemental just to take that minion off board.
Right. I can see both plays being good. Yeah, it's unfortunate for Dr. J. He never really had a line that could, play around Dustbreaker.
Yeah.
Oftentimes in Weld, there's so many bigger minions. Yeah, I like the Fire Elemental line actually because it's getting rid of the only minion.
Yeah.
If there was like 2 minions, I'd prefer an Aya generally, so that. Because you're not clearing both anyways. That way you're not giving priest targets for Divine Inner, Powered Shield, Talon Priest, things like that. But, if you can clear the only minion, then that's something that's almost always super good.
And yeah, another point actually, with the Potion of Madness, there is potential if Dr. J does play a pretty healthy minion. There is potential there for him to steal that and just swing it into face. But he would need the second Divine Spirit in order to pull that off, I think.
Right.
But there is potential there down the line, possibly to do that with the Twilight Acolyte.
Yeah, we can also even see a Twilight Acolyte into a Potion of Madness for the Aya, that we can steal the Jade. It doesn't look like that's going to happen because this Flame Wreath is probably going to require the last Twilight Acolyte to deal with here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's not... The line of play that Jarla's looking at here is, like you say, there's so many dead cards there. The Potion of Madness not looking very great right now. Dustbreaker inactive. Yeah, I think you have to go for the... Oh, yeah, going for a draw first, which is probably quite smart.
Yeah, Jarla needs a swing, basically, because until you take over the board, all of your kind of like dead cards, in your hand don't really do anything. This is the problem, because all of Dr. J's hand is just value, big minion.
Yeah.
And Jarl has, Divine Spirit and her Fire Potion of Madness, so, he needs to find some way to take over. Priest oftentimes can have big swingy turns, but this is probably not the perfect hand for it. There's still the last Dustbreaker, which is probably his biggest swing.
Yeah, because that one Dustbreaker was generated, so we still got one more left in the deck, and it is active now because of the Twilight Drake draw.
Right.
Twilight Drake is one of those cards as well, which is really scary in this type of deck. If you haven't got the power to trade into it, then there's potential there. Obviously, if you just get comboed out, but yeah, Dr. J's board is looking a lot healthier now. Like the Aya is just such a good card, just to generate more kind of potential power on board for even Shaman, and the likes of Jade Claw and Jade Lightning just makes it so much better. And yeah, I like trading the 2 damage into that as well.
I feel like because your minion is already 7 attack and 4 health, it's not a really great target for Divine Spirit Inner Fire to begin with, because it already had so much attack.
Yeah, and it kind of plays around a little bit into that potential, but it doesn't play around the card draw from Cleric.
So it's probably okay. I'm not sure. Yeah, oftentimes it's kind of weird to leave up a 7/4, but in this kind of matchup, it's actually somewhat of a better minion to leave up. You know?
Because it's difficult because I guess the attack into the 7/4 there, it's forcing Jarla to spend 2 mana to heal it up if he wants to play like a Dustbreaker or something like that, and he wants to keep it as a 7/1.
Right.
But
that's a good reason actually.
Yeah. Because it's kind of forcing him to use a resource of hero power, but then again he's on 9 mana and he's not used a bunch of his cards in hand, so Dr. J's got to assume that a lot of those are combo pieces now. Yeah,
he has to realize Jarla has a very reactive hand here. Let's see. Dr. J's looking for a way to take over this board. That's his #1 priority here. Some of the resources he has to take over the board are Devolve and Crackle, things that have an instant effect here. I wonder if you ever decide to just use an early Devolve. I think it's something you can do if you had a second one, because oftentimes if you do an early one, they can just play a minion and start interfiring it immediately on their turn. So
like this, dropping Sea Giant.
He does do their early Devolve here. He wants to take everything out.
Don't think the Radiant Elemental would matter too much if that was still alive, but
right. He can just trade off everything on board.
Yeah.
So. Oh, he's leaving up a minion. I wonder why. Oh, the 2/2 already attacked. Never mind. I thought he had an energy attack.
Yeah, Dustbreaker's looking... It's not looking too good. It'd leave behind a 3/3 Jade, 3/1, and a... Still, the Steve Giant would still be up pretty healthily on 5 HP.
Yeah, Tauntaum just doing some work. If the Tauntaum was dead, he can trade off his cat before the Dustbreaker, taking out one more minion.
He could potentially potion it in order to get at the... I guess you get at the Aya, maybe? With that.
Yeah.
Or you could potion it in a fire.
I mean, the thing is, there's not even a huge reason to Dustbreaker this board. There's no more Flame Tongue, right? And you're basically just taking out like the 1/1s and 2/2s.
Yeah, you're not actually removing to anything
big. Yeah, I just feel like you don't develop here yourself, so probably play your biggest minions, Twilight Drake or something.
Yeah.
Although the problem playing Twilight Drake is it's your only dragon.
Yeah, so that's going to deactivate the Dustbreaker.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
what if you just do Twilight Drake, coin, Divine Spirit? I like it.
Yeah, that's actually not too bad because you've seen the one devolve.
Yeah. Okay, this is okay.
It's not too bad.
Takes out a lot of power still.
So he takes out total 5 power actually there by trading the 2/2 into. Actually, no, it's
7 minus 3.
Yeah,
I guess 4 power.
4 power total.
Yeah.
My EU math there. Yeah, I mean you always just respect the minions. He's in such a commanding position now, Dr. J. He just has to trade in order to win because you've seen both Twilight Acolytes, so you're not scared of Potion of Madness, and I think you've seen both Potion of Madnesses as well now. So
right. It feels so bad whenever you lose a 4/8 to an 8/8 trade. It's like the perfect unit to kill your Twilight Drake. Maybe as a reason to use your Divine Spirit, but it might pay off for him because now look at this draw, double Dustbreaker. If only he had another dragon. Yeah,
one more dragon, he'd be left with just that 8 Carver on board.
Okay, Jarla still has a chance.
You could inner-fire the. You could have inner-fired the Giant as a 2/2.
Oh yeah, that's a huge. That has to be a mistake, right? Or is he trying to find another dragon for Dustbreaker? Because you can see a line potentially where you go Lich King Divine Spirit next turn and just go ahead and use your inner fire on shrinking his Dr. J's 8 attack minion there.
Yeah, because it does protect. It protected the Dustbreaker, but that that didn't really matter at that point. But yeah, I mean he could have to drop that down. To either save the minion or save 8 damage to face. But I guess here you've essentially just got a Lich King.
Lich King Divine Spirit.
Divine, yeah.
Yeah, 8/16. This anti-magic shell is huge. It allows Dr. J to value trade over the Lich King with his own Lich King without losing it.
Yeah.
Jarla has technically a line where you coin inner fire here. I think you make it because
kind of like it though, because it does play around that one potential drawer of magic shell.
Right.
I guess. I guess. Yeah. I mean, would you keep both inner fires? I get because he's used both of his Potion of Madnesses now. I'm trying to think what the second usefulness of the second inner fire would be.
Yeah.
Because the Twilights are basically gone, and that's probably the biggest minion he's going to stick. Out of his deck now, I guess.
It's definitely a big boy. 16. What?
Yeah, is he saving the magic shell and just because it wouldn't have saved either of the.
Oh yeah. Right. He did. I forgot. Jarla did use the inner fire. Okay. So he's just saving it. It's gonna blow up the board next turn. Yeah. Probably dump his whole hand.
Ah, nice. So he actually does get the Dustbreaker active. That's pretty big.
I forgot how grindy operative is because Jarla's actually doing a good job just grinding out Dr. J here with the, kind of like the infinite value of the combination of operative and Nether Spite Historian.
Yeah. And that's huge as well. The one card he got from Lich King, he could have got Obliterate or Death Coil. Both of those would have cleared off the Gen there. But yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised with the the start that Dr. J had and the hand that Jarla had, that he's managed to like stick a decent board, beyond 10-10.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see if Dr. J is going to pull a trigger. He's about to run out of stuff. I can see a line here because he's going to have a hard time, continuously clearing off the board from this point forward. Obviously, Jade Lightning does a great job, which might change his mind, but certainly I could still see both lines being valid, where you just play your acidic Swamp Ooze, your Merc Sparkule to the face, Hero Power, Anti-Magic Shell, go all face and set up for a 2-turn lethal Jade Lightning.
I like that.
You can also just now with the Jade Lightning pickup just actually kill the operative as well. You did see one Inner Fire, one Divine Spirit. How scary is it to leave that up? Not sure.
You'd have to, if he's been like tracking the hand from left. I think that Duskbreaker is the old. Well, I think that Duskbreaker's only been there for a couple of turns. But the Inner Fire has actually been in hand for quite some time. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to you have to make a decision now whether to, like you say, go all in.
It's Dr. J. He's going all in. Oh no.
Oh no.
I feel like Dr. J has too much influence from Just Admirable, and I think he feels. I thought he felt Just Admirable's voice on his shoulder as a little devil here saying, "Go face." Yeah. Too bad there's no Duskbreaker here.
Yeah, that would have been huge. Yeah. But now there's actually a pretty good chance of a decent anti-magic shell sticking next turn.
Right. This Anti-Magic Shell, is that lethal? He can take out, 1 minion?
Yeah, he could draw actually and try to look for a potential dragon top deck.
Right. Oh, this is 1 damage off lethal from Dr. J. He has 14 damage on board if Jarla takes out his 1/1 with another Spider Historian. Yeah, so it's very close to lethal by Dr. J next turn, since none of Dr. J has Jarla has 0 defensive cards in his hand right now. So all he's playing is just a bunch of stats, no taunts, no removal except for the potential trade here. It looks like Jarla's thinking about the order.
Sea Giant first.
Yeah,
for the cheaper.
Exactly.
I suppose. Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't draw a dragon here, it doesn't really matter how much the.
Ooh. There's a chance for Duskbreaker still. Is he even going to go for it anymore, though? It doesn't look too good after he's already dumped his whole hand,
Oh, this is actually this puts Dr. J under a lot of pressure, actually.
Right.
Because the Inner Fire dropping next turn.
16, 22 damage. Whoa, it's 1 damage off on Jarla's side, too. He has 22 with the Inner Fire on the Northshire Cleric. Taunt would be amazing. Nice. Was that his only card?
I think we lost track of the top end there, but it was Ooze and Anti-Magic. They were the last two. He picks up a Devolve.
Oh, he picks up a Devolve. Wow.
Wow, okay.
Interesting.
I think you do it because the Northshire Cleric's going to get devolved into a 0-drop. So it's going to be a max of 1/1.
Do you attack first, or...?
I would... Yeah.
And maybe you just devolve first so you can see what trades you get.
Oh wow, you got really bad ones.
What is that? Icehell can't attack face.
Can't go face. That's awful.
Okay, this is looking bad for Jarla. All of a sudden, this board is so scary.
And he has Heal Totem as well, so this is... He can try... it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Probably why the game ended.
Oh, it's such a shame that minion can't attack face.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had lethal anyway. Yeah,
right.
That was. Yeah, I'm surprised though that the priest deck managed to get that far with just grinding out. And Dr. J takes it 2-1. There's one more game potentially if Dr. J takes it to 3-1. And his last deck list, I believe now, is Paladin. Because his mage was banned out, so he's got Odd Paladin up next for Dr. J, and a choice between Inner Fire Priest again for Jarla, and I believe it's going to be, is it Paladin? I have to check what the ban was again.
It is.
Yeah.
I always like seeing Paladin Wild. One of my all-time favorite cards is Quartermaster, and Muster for Battle, and I always like to see that for old time's sake. I think the best feeling is when you can curve out with both of them.
I used to watch all the videos on YouTube I used to learn Hearthstone from watching you during like GVG and stuff like that, and I copied your mid-range paladin with like heal bot and chow and stuff like that. So yeah, it's such a good feeling when you like hear the 2 armsmen and then just like all the swords like going on board.
It's so much stats. You just play like 20 worth of stats.
So it is Dr. J's Odd Paladin versus the Jarla's Tempo Mage. Sorry, I made a mistake. It was Jarla's Paladin was banned out, so it's Tempo Mage that he's got with the Inner Fire Priest.
Yeah. Well, at least Dr. J still has Pally. Let's see. This matchup is a lot of the secrets, like say explosive runes, for example. It's not very good in this matchup with Paladin playing mostly tiny minions.
Yeah, some even with bubbles where it effectively does like a chunk of face damage and then that's it.
Yeah, this is I think this is a tough matchup for Mage. Let's see what he has for AoE here. Things like Cinderstorm. I believe there might not be anything here, right? Yeah, there's absolutely 0 AoE in Jarla's list here against Paladin, so maybe not the most equipped list.
It's pretty similar to the other kind of Tempo Mages that we've seen today, or the one Tempo Mage that we've seen today. It's got Stargazer in it as well, which is, I'll be honest, in Wilds, I don't think Stargazer is seen very often in a Tempo Mage. I think that's more of like a standard kind of template for that type of deck. Whereas, I think there's a lot more emphasis on secret draws with like Arcanologist and Mad Scientist and then an Alanuf and the likes of like Ice Lance. But I think I would have liked to have seen 2 copies of Arcane Missiles in these decks. Just because it's so good against Rogue early game and it's so good against Paladin as well.
You see here, there's the Coin Quartermaster. It wasn't fast. Yeah, Jarla's opening wasn't fast enough to stop this. And one of the best things about having 2 Quartermasters is your first Quartermaster kind of effectively protects your second one, because 3/3s are harder to kill than 1/1s. So effectively, your first Quartermaster makes it harder for your opponent to clear your server hand recruits, leading to the second Quartermaster being easier to pull off. It's very snowbally in that sense,
Yeah, it's such a. It feels so good to play it, but when you see that first Quartermaster drop and you just have that like dread and sense of, oh god, these are going to be 5 attack now.
Yeah, Quartermaster is also another minion that you can dump into explosive runes with pretty much impunity. You don't care that much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so you take 1 damage and it's so much better than what's it called now? What's the 5 mana or the 6 mana spell?
Level up.
Level up. Yeah, level up. It's so much better than level up just because it gets so much trading done against other like tempo and aggro decks because it's the 2/5 stat line and poor Quartermaster hit with Polymorph Sheep.
Yeah, Dr. J's doing his pop-off. Wonder what music he's
I was going to say,
to.
what do you think he's listening to? He's in the zone, like.
Yeah. I love watching players pop off. I've been liking it much more recently.
Yeah, it's like when you feel like confident and you're in the lead, or you perceive to be like in the lead, and you're like more relaxed. You see like more like players' personalities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got the trifecta of secrets activated now for Jarla, but like I say, it's pretty easy for Dr. J to play around the likes of Explosive and Polymorph Sheep with this. I mean, you could just drop. You probably feel okay just dropping like a Fungal Mancer into one of those secrets, and you could trade up the sheep into Karen Tormage, and I guess because you're in such a commanding lead now, you just kill these.
Right.
Yeah.
Dr. J has to think that Jarla has an ice block down, so you know, obviously he has 13 damage, but it's not as simple as just going all face. Dr. J's thinking one of the only ways he can lose is maybe leaving up all these minions, popping the block, and then Jarla just killing Dr. J because he didn't respect the board. So looking at Dr. J's hand, he has so much value in his hand. Look at his fives, just the numbers on his cards are all high mana cost stuff. So he's taking it a little bit slow here. He wants to not take too much damage, trading off the board. Especially with the Lothar, right? That card is like a lockout against Mage. Yeah,
if he gets that put down, it stops any kind of potential kind of RNG swing turns with the likes of Glyph and stuff like that. And I suppose here you have to Luna and then pick a target to fireball. It's the difficult choice because do you respect the damage or do you respect the health on one of the...
Whoa. What is this line? Oh, I see. Jarla's... it's very weird, but I believe Jarla is trying to high roll the Luna with like one drop minions.
Maybe like Frostbolt into like an ice... does he run Ice Lance actually? I believe he does. Yeah, he does, yeah. So like a Frostbolt into Ice Lance would be good. But he's recognizing that's probably his only out, rather than because there's no way you can control the board against Paladin. So you've got to just play to that one out.
Yeah, I like his line here. Gave him his best chance to win. It looks like.
Yeah.
You know, Dr. J is just not respecting this line at all because it doesn't even drop the load death.
Oh, and the well played as well.
But
yeah, and that's not going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you could get a 0 mana secret.
That's true, but 2 mana is not enough to do 13 anymore, so...
No. But no, Nova wouldn't help out there because of the weapon active.
Yeah.
See that? That's going to lock this game out.
Also lock out the series.
Yeah. And that's it. Dr. J takes it 3-1. And I like both players' lineups. I think maybe the Inner Fire Priest is pretty weak in a kind of an aggro meta. Or like a mid-range, like you saw with mid-range Shaman, or even Shaman I should say, because like you say, if they generate a wide enough board, it's difficult to get that 1 minion to stick early game and then potentially swing in. But yeah, 3-1 for Dr. J. What do you think about Dr. J's lineup?
I like Dr. J's lineup. It seems like aggro's doing extremely strong and wild recently. Doesn't seem like Jarla liked his matchup against Dr. J, maybe bringing a little bit more of an anti-control lineup. Definitely, not what he wanted. I think we're going to go into an interview soon with Dr. J on screen. How are you doing, Dr. J? How do you feel after that?
I feel fantastic. It's been quite some time that I've had the opportunity to compete for like such a large amount of money. So I've been a little bit nervous. I don't know if my play's been exactly what I, hold to my old Dr. J standards, but it's been really fun. I've been enjoying it.
I was gonna say, how bad did it feel to like Myra's unstable and then just not find the Kingsbane?
Okay, with that matchup, I know it's a bad matchup. So I sat there and I looked at my hand. I was like, well, we either let him have a full turn or we try and make something work out of this. So I decided to go in with the Myras, and unfortunately we didn't draw the Kingsbane, but I still would have taken that play no matter what.
Yeah, I've done that many times. I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, we were talking about that line because, I was saying, like, if you had maybe something else to do that turn, but your hand was pretty much only, that's the only thing you could do. So
I think you drew the worst cards as well. It was two weapon draws because you got the 2 Cavern Finders and then 2 Saps, which weren't really doing anything.
Yeah. I thought with the Saps, I was like, all right, with the Saps, maybe if he just like, I could sap the 0-2 over and over, maybe push a little bit of damage. But yeah, with the Cavern Shiny Finders, I found that whenever you prep Myras as like a last-ditch effort, you don't draw your weapon, and you draw every single thing that draws a weapon. Like your hand will be like 2 raiding parties and 2 Cavern Shiny Finders. It's a law,
Hearthstone law. It's the same with if you're playing like a Shutterbox deck and you've got 9 cards, and then your opponent overdraws you, you're gonna overdraw Shudder. It's the way.
Of course. Yeah. That's just how Shudder. It's like a hidden little message on Shutterbox text that says you will overdraw this card at some point in your career.
And there's a little picture of Synthol in the bottom of the card artwork.
Exactly. All right. One more question. What kind of music? What's the music of your choice here for playing Hearthstone?
Oh gosh, you'll probably saw me jamming out over there. I listen to everything from just rap to indie to alternative. I don't know. I like a lot of different groups. I just put it on my Spotify and I just click random, and then whatever's listening at the time, it's either like somber when I'm trying to play a control deck, or it's like fast paced for aggro. So there's a lot of options there.
Okay. Cool. I like it.
All right, we'll see you. You're against Mune in the semi-finals, and we'll catch you in the next series. Cheers, Doctor.
Awesome, thank you guys.